Touba happening here in Lamphal TV every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. You can always follow us, of course, on Facebook on our page, Eco from Touba. Before we start, we're going to wish long life to our Caliph, Sheikh Muntaha. And also the good news we've been hearing lately, he's been giving over 170 million for health insurance for the youngsters learning Quran throughout Touba. Over 2,000 kids that's been insured with an insurance of health insurance monthly. They can go and see, go to the hospital with no fees paid, and that is from our Caliph Sheikh Muntaha, of course. And also for everybody in Touba doing dialysis with kidney disorder, he gave out also over 70 million to help the hospital for the sick people to really have better health. So thanks to Sheikh Muntaha for that initiative. Also wishing well to our Sheikh, our own Sheikh Murtada Ibn Sheikh Abdul Ahad. Wishing him that all the goals he's having in Senegal, Allah help him to realize them, inshallah. Today we have a friend, a guest, Mamadou Gaye Sam, visiting from Diamniadio. He's a teacher at Diamniadio High School. He's been here very active in propagating the work of Serigne Sam Mbaye. That was his anniversary, just the 14th, saluting all the members of the Daira. What's the name of the Daira again?
Génération Soppe Serigne Sam.
Génération in French, Génération and Wolof, yes. And Wolof as well. Génération Soppe Serigne Sam. All the fellowship, I mean, everybody that really loves Serigne Sam is part of that particular Daira. So he's one of the head of that organization. He went to Cheikh Anta Diop University, where actually he had a master in English and teaching actually in Diamniadio High School. Right now doing a PhD with a title he's going to tell us later. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mamadou Gaye.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody, the viewers of Lamphal, this interesting program, Echo from Touba. First of all, let me greet our leaders, our authorities or religious authorities.
MashaAllah.
Serigne Yusuf Mbaye, the Caliph of Sheikh Ahmad Kabir, and Sheikh Muntaqa Bashir, the Caliph of the Mourdia Order, and older friend to Serigne Sam Mbaye at the same time. And also the Caliph of Serigne Sam, Serigne Imam Sheikh Mbaye, and all the family of Serigne Sam. And by the way, let me greet my organization to which I belong, the Daïra Génération Soppe Serigne Sam, founded from workshop and known to spread the teachings of Serigne Sam. I am more than happy to be here today to discuss the topic and to discuss Islam in general and Serigne Sam in particular. Yes,
thank you, Mamadou Gaye. Interesting topic, of course. We're going to talk about how youngsters are keen, found to the message of Serigne Sam. Serigne Sam, who has done a lot of lectures teaching actually the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mamadou Gaye, if we talk about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we're going to talk about Islam, of course. Can you give us a brief definition of the religion of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how it started?
Yes. We can say that Islam started in a period of darkness in Mecca. When the Prophet was young, when he was sent as Prophet, he was young. And the Meccan society was a bit lost because they were worshipping, they were not worshipping God himself, they were worshipping gods, if we can call it so. And the Prophet came to teach them the God they should worship and how to worship him and why to worship him. So Islam is a religion, a revealed religion, or the last religion. Because if we refer to the Quran itself, we say, Inna Dina Inna Allahi Islam. It is the best religion known by God himself. So that religion, Islam, has a book called the Quran, which is the message received by the Prophet through the angel Gabriel. And the Prophet, Islam means submission to Allah. Islam means peace. Islam means tolerance. Islam means brotherhood. Islam means harmony and social organization. This is what the Prophet Muhammad came to teach us. And as a young, because when he was sent as Prophet, he was nearly 40 years old.
Right.
And the Sahaba, the first companions, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Umar, Ali, and all the others, they were young also. So we can say your topic is also very important today to discuss Serigne Sam and the young people. But in the framework of Islam, the Prophet Muhammad himself, and why not Sheikh Ahmad Bamba also? Because when he was to set up the Muridiya Brotherhood, he was also young. We will have time to discuss all about it.
His first followers were young.
Were young, yes, of course.
So you just described that Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, how he started, how youngsters came about to grab the message, and coming down to Senegal, where Islam, you know, from peninsula of Arabia to Africa, how, you know, it started here from the Muridiya perspective.
First of all, Islam has entered in Senegal, into Senegal from the north part. As you said a moment ago, from the Arabic Peninsula, Mauritania, Saint Louis, and it enters to the central part of Senegal.
Right.
And that part also, the Kajor or the Bawal, has an important part, an important role played by Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba and even his ancestors. Because at his time, Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba, it was a colonial period. Senegal was colonized by the French.
Right.
And the French were, you know, the French dominated the country culturally, socially, economically, and in terms of thinking. That was the colonization. And he came, you know, to save us. He came to let us, to make us get rid of that colonization. That was both, you know, but that had many consequences in terms of, you know, our behavior and our way of thinking. And Islam, as I said a moment ago, it is a way of living. And the Sheikh has done such a way that the Islam he came to set up was similar to that the Prophet Muhammad was teaching, you know, and he had succeeded to train some people, to educate some people so that they could spread the teachings of Islam in other areas. For example, he can set up a village where he can teach his students, his disciples, and after teaching them, he can send other students in other areas to teach other people. This is the Sheikh was doing. And little by little, you know, his teachings, or he was being famous in the country,
right.
And the French were afraid of him. Why? Because they were thinking that he can wage war against them. It was not the case.
Kind of revolution.
Yes, a kind of revolution. They should think that he will be doing as Ahmadou Sheikhu or Baba Jahu or Sheikh Omar Foutiou. It was not the case. The Sheikh came to save us in a very peaceful way. That's what he succeeded. That's the reason why today, in the world, he is considered as one of the most important peaceful freedom fighters, Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba. That what he succeeded.
Not even equal, close to
Yes.
Mandela and all the other freedom fighters.
Yes, they said that.
Martin Luther King, etc.
He was beyond them.
Beyond that,
because
right.
Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba, he is the only one to say, forgive the one who has, you know, how can I call it again? Forgive the one who has done you wrong.
Wrong.
After coming from the exile, what did he say? He had forgiven all, you know, all that wrong the enemies had done.
All of them, right?
Yes.
Right.
So
I'm going to go briefly, because the topic today is really youngsters, how they moved into Islam. But there's a question here that is getting to me, which is Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was teaching in front of Arab people. Serigne Touba teaching in front of African black people. Is it the same? Was the same message brought, imported from Arabia, or it was kind of sought out in order to fit the African nations? What happened?
So, Islam is a universal religion.
Is it?
Adapted to each country, to any country, according to their socio-cultural realities. And Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba has succeeded to do so. Because as you said, the Prophet was an Arab, teaching to an Arab people.
Right.
Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba is a Senegalese. In a Wolof society, you know, and he came to the world of society to teach the same Islam as the Prophet Muhammad was teaching. So he has contextualized, you know, his period of time, because he was writing. He wrote many poems in Arabic, but those poems reflected the same way of living of the Prophet, the same Islamic laws. He did not go away from what the Prophet was doing. What I mean is, Sheikh Ahmad Bamba, in terms of pedagogy, had a gift from God in terms of pedagogy. Because remember when his father, Mamor Antasali, was a Quranic teacher. There was a time when Mamor Antasali was ill, and Sheikh Ahmad Bamba was teaching in the same Quranic school. And the disciples of our father preferred to be taught by Sheikh Ahmad Bamba
than himself.
Yes, because of his pedagogy, his way of teaching. And if we consider his teachings, the way he has renovated the religion of Allah, it is thanks to his poems and thanks to his way of considering the society itself. By setting up, building some villages, setting up an Islamic environment. For example, if you go to the Bawal, the way they're living, it is typically religion, it is typically Islam. The way they dress, the way the areas are built up, it is a special way that nowadays we need to study all this deeply.
So you're stating that there was no fight between Islam and culture in Africa?
Of course, because I said a moment ago that the French were here. First, what did they do first when they came? The French people. You know that here in our country they used the Arabic language not to speak but to talk, but to write letters. For example, if Sheikh Ahmad Bamba wanted to write a letter to Mam Alhaji Malik, he did it but in Arabic language. The French, what they did first is to fight against that language, to set up their own schools, to teach their French language, their culture, their way of living. Well,
actually, I was talking about Islam itself, not the colonizers, but Islam, because it's something that is brought here from Arabia, and then we have our own African culture here. And if a sheikh comes out teaching to African who never heard of Islam, what I'm saying is there were major transformations in terms of how to vehicle the message, or it was just a universal message that has to be taught the same way, whether you in Alaska, you in Senegal, you in South Africa. What happened?
I said a moment ago, the problem of contextualization.
Right.
They have contextualized.
Right.
They have updated Islam in our culture. And remember that before Islam in Senegal, we had our values that Islam appreciated. Right. Remember the period of the Cheddos. They had their own values.
Right.
For example, the honor of the word given. The honor of the word given. What we can call ngor, the courage. They had it. Those values were still in our society. Were here.
Right.
So their values are taught by Islam. And I said a moment ago that they have, contextualized, they have updated Islam in our society. For example, of course, there was something bad we were doing in our society, and Islam has banned us, banned that. So the Sheikh has succeeded to teach the Islam the Prophet was teaching here according to, or in accordance to our realities. It is not a transformation.
Right.
It is just only a
continuation.
Contextualization. Yes.
That's beautiful. It's good to know. I mean, we're having Professor Mamadou Gaye today, a teacher at Diem Niadio High School, who's graduated from Sheikh Anta Diop University of Dakar, getting ready for his PhD right now. We're talking about youngsters in Islam, youngsters in Sufism. I just wanted to a little bit mention the universality of the message of Islam, whether you're in Peru, whether you're in China, there's the same message that can integrate your own culture. It's very good to know. We're in Africa and we're living well with this beautiful religion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also his best Asna al-Khadim, servant, Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, living here who lived in Senegal. Since the universality of the message is verified, how widespread right now is the message of Sheikh Al Khadim?
Repeat your question again, please.
How widespread?
Yes.
How you know?
Remember, you were in America.
Right.
For example, you Murid live in America, and Murids living in Touba. Is it there is any difference?
I'll leave you the question.
There is no difference.
Right.
For example, the message of the Quran, or the universality of the Quran, or the universality of the Muridia, it is a state of thinking. It is a spirit. Okay. The Sheikh has succeeded to establish this. Wherever you can be, it is Touba for you. Here we are in Dakar. We can say Touba, Mermoz.
So
Touba,
the
New
message
York.
has echoed throughout the world right now.
Yes.
So I just wanted to, before you start with the teaching of Serigne Sam, because the teaching of Serigne Sam somehow follows the teaching of Sheikh Al Khadim. He has a mission to do with Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, Khadim Rasul. First, who was Serigne Sam?
This question is easy and difficult to answer. As for me, Serigne Sam was here, a man of God, born in Senegal in 1922, son of Sheikh Ahmadou Kabir. He was named after Mamour Diarra Mbacké, the elder brother of Sheikh Al Khadim. His father, Mam Fatou Cham, Sokhna Fatou Cham, well known. But to be quick, to go faster, Serigne Sam was a university teacher, first of all. He taught in Cheikh Anta Diop University after his PhD. I skipped many stages, okay, to get down to the nitty-gritty. And he was fond of spreading the work of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, Islam in general. And he translated many books written by Sheikh Al Khadim. And also he delivered many lectures, more than 843 lectures. 843 lectures.
Close to 1,000.
More than
that.
More than. Because there are some lectures that were not recorded due to
800 or 80?
800.
Right.
43. 843.
Whoa.
Yes.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work for a man known as Serigne Sam Mbaye, who lived in Louga, son of Mam Cheikh Mbaye, of course, who had his anniversary just a while ago, and also his recording. You can listen to them every morning right here on Lamp Fall TV. Thanks to Serigne Aliou Thioune,
and who's
having that
vision. Important work that Lamp Fall is doing.
Absolutely.
Because I used to listen to Lamp Fall.
It's been a long time, and he never skipped it.
Yes.
So hats off to Serigne Aliou Thioune with the beautiful work he's doing, spreading the message of that unique personality, Serigne Sam Mbaye. You can follow us again on Facebook, and don't forget to like that page, Echo from Touba page. All the videos later will be uploaded on YouTube and of course on our Facebook page. We thought you just gave us a brief description of Serigne Sam, who he was, and now we're going to talk about we're going to hit the subject. When did he start the lectures?
Okay, so when he was here in Dakar teaching, from 1970 to 1975, he did some lectures on Imam Ghazali first.
Right.
But those lectures were not recorded.
Oh boy.
And the first lecture he gave,
that was Ihya Ulumuddin, or
yes, in Ihya Ulumuddin, and the whole work of Ghazali, because in the Arabic department of Cheikh Anta Diop, he defended an MA dissertation on Imam Ghazali. Yes, first MA dissertation.
And the archives are lost right now. They have
all the archives
over there in Cheikh Anta Diop.
Of course.
Wow.
And after that, he focused on Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba. Yes, his PhD and another PhD on Tasawwuf and Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba. Yes, but his first lecture he delivered was in Rufisque in 1972. 1972. Science and the Quran and science. Science and the Quran. That was the topic of that lecture. But unfortunately, that lecture was not was lost after. It was recorded, but it was lost.
Wow.
Unfortunately. In 1974,
broken my heart here.
in 1974,
Right.
he delivered another lecture on a book written by his elder brother, Sheikh Ibrahim Mbaye. The title of the book was Munshirul Hayran fi Karamat al-Rabbani Sheikh Ahmadul Sahir. In that book, the author was, giving some miracles, some karama of his father, Sheikh Ahmadul Kabir. And he did a lecture on that book.
On that book.
In 1974.
But that tape is saved, though.
Yes.
Hopefully.
It exists now.
It
Yes.
does. Okay.
You can have it.
Great.
Yes. After that, but the first time he was discovered by the Murids. But before, he gave also lectures to some Tijans and some Ibadur Rahman. He gave, yes, of course.
He's universal.
Yes. But he mostly gave lectures to Murids, because the Murids at the time needed a person, to explain Sheikh Ahmad Bamba in terms of tasawwuf, his writings and all. And at that time, in UNESCO in France, in 1979, he delivered a lecture on tasawwuf and Sheikh Ahmad Bamba. First in French, and second part, question answers in Wolof. That was the first time he was discovered by the Murids. And after that,
that's the one with Saint Salih Salam?
Yes, with Saint Salih Mbake ambassador. Also, yes.
Okay.
And Saint Mustafa Lo also.
Right.
Yes, at that time. It was the first time.
That sound is being played in Lamphal as well.
Yes. And after that, in 1982, when he was about to draft his PhD on Tasawwuf, he translated the Mazalik into French and into English. And right after, he was asked by Sheikh Abdul Ahad to translate many books written by Sheikh al-Khadim. And from that time, the Murids called him for lectures and lectures and lectures. Until in 1997, in the US, in the headquarters of the Organization of the United Nations,
right,
where you told me last year that you saw him there. It was her last lecture.
I shook his hand over there, though. I thank
it was
Allah to do that.
His last lecture in America in 1997.
Right.
Yes, August 1997.
That was his last lecture.
In America, abroad. Yes.
I remember also when a member of Hizbut Tarqiyyah told me that when he was translating, rewriting Mazalikul Jinan, he did it actually at the headquarters of Hizbut Tarqiyyah right here in Dakar.
In Dakar.
With the help of Srin Yusuf Job, who did a brilliant, who gave a brilliant message during the ziyarah they did. Again, thanks to Hizbut Tarqiyyah, really paving the way to how real Murid Sadiq should be. That day has to be in the archives of Muridism, how they acted, because that's the only way we can come out and help the actual Caliph with all the money he's been giving out, helping the daras. The ideas have to come. That's part of
the friendship between Serigne Sam and Serigne Muntaka.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
They were very close.
Right,
I heard that.
And I had a recording on Serigne Muntaka bearing witness to Serigne Sam. It was fantastic.
It was beautiful.
It was even, understand.
Wow.
So, and Serigne Muntaka also is a man of science. It is a man who believes that we can change the world through education.
I'm going to come to that.
Yes.
This is part of our questions, though. But since we talk about Islam, we talk about Serigne Sam giving out lectures, helping to attract youngsters to Islam through Sufism. We're going to start because we talked of Islam. What's Sufism for our viewers? What is Sufism? Is it part of Islam or what is it? Can you give us
I told you last year.
Repeat it
again. So Sufism, Islam, Tawheed, Fiqh, Tasawwuf.
Right.
Tawheed is the unity, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The way we should believe Him. The way we should know that He is the one. He is the eternal. He is the beginning. He is the end. Out of Him there is nothing. Okay? And the fiqh is the laws. The way we should, worship God. The interdictions and the orders. But the ikhlas now is the way we should, the purifying. Ikhlas. Al-ikhlas and ta'budallah annaka tara. It is the Prophet who said, you should worship God. You should worship God as if you are seeing Him or if you don't see him, or if you can't see him, you must know that he is seeing you. This is the ikhlas, the way you purify, the way you sanctify, or you are sanctified by your sheikh, the sheikhul tasfiyah. Okay? So Sufism has an important part in Islam, because if it is not done righteously, the two first parts, are not doing well.
Won't be
are not done well. Yes, because
but is it
it is the inner self, the inner.
That has to be
it is the
honed.
way you are doing the jihad al-nafs. Remember this hadith from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day he returned from a battlefield, a holy war, and he said to his companions, "Now finish the small jihad. Now we're running to the great jihad." And the Sahaba said, we have our weapons to kill and to be killed. How this can be considered as a small jihad? And what is the great jihad? The great jihad is the jihad al-nafs. The jihad al-nafs, or the mujahada. It is the jihad against your own free will, on your inner, your ego. This is the great jihad, because it is permanently. It is permanent. And that jihad is not permanent, is from time to time.
MashaAllah.
Okay? This is the great jihad. This is tasawwuf helps us to do. Okay.
MashaAllah. Thanks to Mamadou Gaye once again, and thanks also to Sheikh Faragay, who came over to this program and show and talk about the late Sheikh Abdullah Jay. And when we discuss, he talked about how love is like have a center position in terms of tasawwuf. Dini hubbullah, he actually claimed, thanks to Sheikh Faragay once again, the place of love. Because Sheikh Al-Qadim said actually in one of his books that Sheikh Sambay translated Huq al-Buqa. He said also Touba lihabdin muridin sadiqin lahumu بخدمة أو بحب love mahabba أو hadiyati. So what's the place of mahabba? Because I truly believe that it's mahabba that's bringing the kids close to Serigne Sam.
The mahabba is a kind of link between the sheikh and the disciple. It is the link between the prophet and the companions, because we must consider Shaykh al-Khadim as the servant of the prophet. He has the position of the prophet, and his companions the position of the companions of the Sahaba. He came to teach us the way the prophet was living. Okay, so what can help us to reach our sheikh, or to reach the prophet, or to reach God himself? It is the mahabba. Remember, there are some companions, when they were asked to be killed, when they were asked to kill the prophet at their stake, they said, "I prefer to be killed than a little thing happened to Prophet Muhammad." This is mahabba. Remember, the first generation of the Murids, they lived it. They lived it. They prefer to be killed than to do a little thing to Shaykh Ahmad Bamba. This is a mahabba. And the mahabba, there are some degrees of mahabba. You can give your money. You can, you can do the khidmah for your sheikh. All this is a kind of mahabba. And mahabba, we cannot say Sufism, we cannot say tarbiyah without mahabba. We cannot say reaching God himself without mahabba.
It's a pillar.
Yes, it is one of the pillars of Sufism. It is one of the pillars of the one who wants to reach God.
Is it mahabba that Serigne Sam used to attract youngsters to him? Because sometimes there's different type of messages he's been having, though, vehicling in his speeches, though. There's one called that I'm still scared to listen to, the Al-Qiyamah one, where he describes what's going to happen from stage to stage. And really, I'll always say to everybody listening to, I don't know if they translate it in French or English or Spanish, but anyone will listen to that tape of Serigne Sam, of the description of Qiyamah, and wakes up and goes do evil stuff, he's really an extraordinary person.
Bleeding.
I mean, this is just a fine tape. So I'm saying, what was his method? Using only mahabbas, or fear of Allah, or scaring people? Can you kind of describe
The way he was communicating.
The way he was communicating.
Serigne Sam was communicating not from mouth to ears. No, it's not from mouth to ears. From heart to heart, from soul to soul. Understand? From heart to heart, from soul to soul. And he used to say that, do not deliver words for delivering words. Words who came from the heart, the purified heart, will enter directly to the purified heart. And they will never go out. They will stay and have an influence on the person. Because let us consider the period of time he came, Serigne Sam. He came after the independence. He knew that young people should know their religion. He knew that young people should learn or take advantage of the teachings of Sheikh al-Khadim. But why or how? He started translating the books into French because he knew that many of those young people who were in the French schools, in universities, they did no longer learn Arabic. He translated books into French. I myself, if I come to read any word of the writings of Sheikh al-Khadim, it is thanks to the translations done by Serigne Sam and many of my peers. Understand? And right after he started the lectures. Why the lectures? Serigne Sam, he understood Wolof, he understood French, he understood Arabic. But he was here in Senegal. And in Senegal, most of the people speak Wolof. That's why he delivered the message into Wolof. Understand? How he did so? By recording his lectures. You know that only the one condition he gave to deliver a lecture, it is to ask them, will you record it? Only.
Well, there was one tape. He even said on tape, "Are you guys recording?
Are you recording?
Are you recording? I remember that. Yeah. Right.
If they say yes, he will come to give the lecture.
Yeah. So his mission was very clear to him.
And he knew that he knew that a time will come when technologies and the means of communications will be at its best days. Look at nowadays, the means of technologies and communications. There are social networks, Facebook and WhatsApp. And the young people are running to Serigne Sam thanks to these new technologies, because what they
taking advantage of
what they could what they could find in books, they could find in the teachings in the lectures of Serigne Sam. Available on YouTube, available on Facebook, available on WhatsApp, available on many means of communications right now.
So I'm going to jump in there to ask you about the translations of his work, though. Are you guys really ahead of? I mean, you working hard on it, or how far you have gone in terms of the translation of his recording, Wolof recordings?
Okay, for example,
in French,
yes,
but also in English.
First of all,
wider...
I mentioned the work that Serigne Papa Sall was doing in the living of Serigne Sam. When Serigne Sam was alive, or was still on earth, he translated many lectures into French. I myself, I have translated many lectures into English. Many lectures, but it is not yet published. They are not yet published, but we're working on it to to proofread and to perform it, because it will be published. Once published, it will be available in some English-speaking countries.
In the market.
Yes, the market. So we're doing it, and also we're doing researches in his lifetime, all the stages of his life, what he did, where, and so on and so on. So, for the time being, Serigne Sam is our life. I can say is our life. We're doing researches on him, mostly on his lectures. Because if we want to know something about Serigne Sam, let's go back to his lectures. If we want to know his behaviors, his qualities, let's go back to his lectures. Because in the lectures, he has taught the way a true sheikh must take, the way the Taliban, the disciple, must take, and the way we as a ummah, as a community, we must live.
Right.
Let us consider the lecture Al-Mu'awana or Al-Muttama. Al-Mu'awana means solidarity, mutual aid. And that lecture was delivered in Thiès for the Ibadur Rahman, after the appeal of the Ibadur Rahman in 1989. In that lecture, he was explaining the way we as Muslims, we should live in the society, the way we should behave, the way we should, have acquaintances. That is very important, because in Islam, in the Sharia law, there is what we can call the muhamalat and the ibadat. And most of the time, we teach the ibadat instead of the muhamalat.
The human relationship.
Yes. That is, Islam also is a human and a social organization. Okay? So, Serigne Sam, in a nutshell, he has come in a time where the need arises, a time when the young generation are lost. Young people are lost. They are following the Western culture. They're following Americans, stars, and so on and so on. Now he has come, to set people on the right track. Yes.
Beautiful. Thanks then to all his work, though, he has done to promote Islam. We're going to come back a little bit, retract in terms of history here, because in late 70s, early 80s, I mean, Senegalese television started in the 70s, late, I mean, 1972, I believe, though, the first images of television in Senegal. And then from there, the cultures, Senegalese start to see cultures coming from abroad, out of mainstream culture. I mean, from America. I think someone was a rapper here,
yes,
right? Used to be rappers, and
I myself.
That's what I'm saying.
I myself.
That's what I'm saying. So since there was culture imported here, and Serigne Sam started, so he's like a market. Everybody brings his stuff in the market. Serigne Sam brought his Sufism, his messages, and stuff like that. So how significant is the amount of children, youngsters, who went to Serigne Sam?
Before coming to that point, let me mention the work of Serigne Abdullah Mbake, the third caliph of the Moorids.
Revolution.
Yes.
Right.
He was a revolutionary in terms of culture, right, because when he came as caliph, he brought a new way of dressing, the baylahat. You understand? The baylahat and his scarf. Because at that time, many people were following the Americans' way of, hairstyle. And he came with his own baylat and the scarf on the head. Sayyid Abdul Ahad. Understand?
It was more than a dressing code, though. It was more of a thinking status.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because back then, I remember you used to go to Touba, you see people around, smoking around the haram.
Because he gave the Murids their true identity in terms of dressing. Because one day, a man who's living in Spain said that, for example, the visit Sheikh Murtada was doing there had an impact on their way of living. Because when they came to do their ziyarah next to the Sheikh, they had some blings on their head and so on.
Right.
And after they had in mind that time has come to change, to see their way of dressing, to put the baylat and the maktoum and so on, to look like Moorids, to look like Senegalese.
Absolutely.
Wherever you go in the world, for example, if you dress like this in this way, people will know that you were Senegalese, you were Muslim, you were Murid, you were disciple of Shaykh
Alhamdulillah. So I'm calling.
So coming to the
Professor, before you come back to that,
yes,
quickly, because coming to Mamadou Gaye again, graduated from Cheikh Anta Diop University, teaching at Diamniadio High School. Right now, getting ready for a PhD, writing on Serigne Sam. I would get a call of heart here for our students, especially the Murid students. Though there's a lot of topics you guys can grab for your thesis. Write on Serigne Abdul Ahad. Someone really mark his generation.
Why not?
What Serigne Abdul Ahad, like a revolutionary person, how he really, I mean, Senegalese Murid life changed really dramatically during Serigne Abdul Ahad time, because the Europeans were here for 400 years. They taught us something that is not really parallel to our culture. And he came out with and Serigne Touba himself said when he was born that I have a lot of hope on Serigne Abdul Ahad. When did guys really have to write on Serigne Abdul Ahad? This is really from my heart, because Serigne Abdul Ahad did a lot, and behind that there's also a lot of theses you can write on Mam Cherno Birahim, for instance,
Yes.
Serigne Souhaïbou Mbacké.
Yes.
How he
Time has come.
Right.
Time has
Hopefully.
come, we Senegalese,
Hopefully.
we young people,
Hopefully.
to think about our great figures,
Absolutely.
to write on them,
Right.
to do researches on their life,
Right,
because
right.
they came to save us.
They-
They came to pave the way. They came to show us how to behave in the society.
Right.
Okay? So time has come to think about this.
They've been writing on
Yes,
Serigne Sam, of course,
yes.
like Serigne Pape Sall is doing, Serigne Mamadou Gaye is doing. Someone like Serigne Cheikh Ahmed Tidiane Sy.
Yes.
You know what he's done in this country. Somebody need to write theses on personalities
And
for
mostly
Africa.
young people,
For
mostly young people.
For youngsters, for Africa, for personalities like this. So how significant was the amount of people who followed Serigne Sam?
So, as I said a moment ago, his words, his voice, isn't similar to those voices you were listening on the radio every day. We all know that. His voice
Mystical?
is soft, mystical, and we can say he is, how to call it? It's like you were listening to the Quran itself. You can call it so, because his voice is unique. Whenever it enters to your heart, it is difficult to vomit out. Let me give an example. Days ago, or months ago, one of my friends, of my disciples, told me that he lost his cell phone. His cell phone was stolen. Okay? It was stolen. For example, whenever you have lost your cell phone, first of all...
All your recordings?
Yes.
Gone.
But first of all, when his cell phone was stolen, he tried to call, to pass a call.
Right.
But generally, the robbers, they take up the smart card and throw it.
Right.
And you never join. You will never join when you call. And when he called, his cell phone was ringing. The first night in the grave. When Serigne Sam said,
the talk of Serigne Sam.
Ku digg njëkk ci bàmmeel in Wolof. Ku digg njëkk ci bàmmeel. The first night in the grave. The first night the human being will have to experience in his grave. Whoever doesn't think of it will experience it. And suddenly the robber himself picked up the phone and answered, "Guy, hello, tell me where you are, I will give you your phone." You understand?
Right.
This is the impact.
He was disturbed.
Yes. This is the impact
of his voice.
And there are so many examples. So many examples.
Right.
Because why did impact is that, as Serigne Abdoulaye Diop said, he had the order from his Lord to deliver a message.
Right.
That's all. Many people are delivering messages, many, before him and after him. But what he did, from the time he did it to now, it is very difficult to see a person
unequal.
Who has, yes.
Right.
There is also another Sheikh, Maul Hayat, Sheikh Ahmad Mbacké Maul Hayat, who said that what Serigne Sam has done here, I have never seen someone doing it right now. So the way he has educated the disciples, the way he has given them the gust of knowledge, this is the way. Because whenever you listen to Serigne Sam, he will encourage you to worship God. He will encourage you to seek science, to do researches on your religion and other fields also. So that's why the young people nowadays, they're running to the teachings of Serigne Sam. They're running to the teaching of Serigne Sam because they have come to a period of time when the technologies are available.
Right.
You cannot see a young person who doesn't have a Facebook account or WhatsApp. And I have counted, I have counted more than 20 WhatsApp groups in the name of Serigne Sam.
Right.
20.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
And the message is going across.
Yes. And people are sharing his lectures.
Beautiful.
And they are talking about his lifetime and what he did. And people also are giving witnesses about between themselves, meaning that what they were doing before,
right,
what Serigne Sam has changed in their life, and so on and so on. So this is that young people nowadays are very grateful to Serigne Sam.
You're right.
And the largest daira to which I belong is the daira Generation Soppe Serigne Sam. Let me read the
English, which
leader.
Which means
the daira Generation Soppe Serigne Sam. It means that all ages have gathered, you know, to work to serve Serigne Sam or to pay tribute to Serigne Sam. The leader himself is Jili Jaw Sam, living in Spain, and Abdoulaye Cissé, and so on.
So salam to those guys.
Those guys.
Alhamdulillah. And also, you're right. He's a very good friend of the Caliph, of course, of the order Sayyid Muntaqa. Right now, Sayyid Muntaqa is about to build a school, a university, to help out, to spread this message you're talking about. But if you see those initiatives in terms of building these schools, recordings from sheikhs like Serigne Sam, writings like many other sheikhs are doing, and we see a government lagging around, not really, catching up with this pace though. What happened? Is it more to be done from government, or we don't need the government to accomplish this objective? What happened?
Both sides. Let me remember that Nelson Mandela, you know Nelson Mandela, he said that education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. Education was the basis of Sheikh Al-Khadim, of Serigne Sam, and so on. Without education, we cannot change the world. So, the government or the state has the right to educate his countrymen.
Right.
It is his obligation. Okay? But here in Senegal, it is different, because we are in a not Muslim
if
country.
somebody's listening,
we are in a secular country.
If somebody's listening from abroad, you tell them that Sheikh Al-Khadim's work is not taught at school. Serigne Sam's work is not taught at school. Sheikh Ahmed Tidiane's work is not taught at school. Sheikh Anta Diop's work is not taught at school. A foreigner will be like, what kind of country you guys living in?
We can teach their works in our educational system, because I said it recently to a friend that we disciples, we should do something. For example, I myself, I'm writing a short book in French and in English about Serigne Sam. So that book will allow youngsters and students to know something, just a little bit about Serigne Sam. Okay, so in the Mouridia order, for example, we should have a how call it again, a pedagogy committee or educational committee that will be in charge of drafting, the work of Serigne Touba in terms of education, in terms of society.
It's happening right now, though, by the way.
Yes, in terms of politics. And Tiwa and Nyasen, they do it. We submit to the Minister of Education. This is what our great figures did. Are you ready to teach this in our schools? Yes or no? By the way, what Serigne Muntaqa is doing is a very good example. What Serigne Mamor Mbake, Ibn Serigne Muntaqa...
But isn't it better, just like Serigne Muntaqa is doing, draft whatever you want to draft, but just start it in your local area. And later on, if you teach this type of curriculum in Touba, and finally it's going to happen everywhere.
Yes, that's what Serigne Touba...
But if you wait for the government, they never come over.
Of course, that's what I was saying. That's what Serigne Touba was doing during his lifetime. To set up a village, set up a Quranic school, to teach his disciples. After training them, he go to another village, built up another village, and do so and so on, so on. It will be enlarged. So if we focus, if we depend on them,
right, it's never going to happen.
Yes. And Serigne Muntaqa, his first speech, he said, "Ku demul damay dem, ku dem damay dem."
Right.
That's what he's doing right now. He is doing actions right now.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, Serigne Sam. Well, just another...
And education also, as I said, is the basics of society, is the basics of the future. And the most...
And it's a right, though.
Yes.
I mean, it's a right of a citizen.
Young people, Serigne Sam said, whenever you gather people, without educating them, it's like you gathering some hungry dogs. If you sleep, they will eat them. They will eat you.
But how come you gather? Just speaking of gathering,
this is what happened.
I mean, you got your own population, and you teach them somebody else's civilization, somebody else's geography, somebody else's history, and you forget your own. How you can emerge?
Go to schools, for example, or go to the areas, to the streets.
Right.
You find a young man. You ask him about Serigne Abdoulaye when
he
he was born.
He doesn't know Serigne Abdoulaye.
and ask him question about Bob Marley or Victor Hugo, they will answer you.
Right. And the message
it
is
doesn't
important.
Time has
But I have a lot of hope, though, for youngsters right now from the diaries they've been creating, just like your diaries and many other diaries.
Yes.
They're having really good initiative, though, having investigating on personalities like this in order to reconsider their own civilization, to reconsider their own personality. Because if you cannot develop yourself from somebody else's life, you have to, you know.
Even for example, those authors or those great figures from Spain, from France, if you go to their own schools, they are not teaching their writings.
And we in 2018, this debate should be history.
Yes.
I mean, you have you go to your own school, you're learning somebody else's. I mean, civilization is really hurting. It's heartbreaking. Hopefully, Africa will wake up on this. And we have great personalities in this country.
Last year, during the Magal of Porohan, I taught a text about Mam Jara Buso in English.
Right.
In my class.
So you see that?
And I saw the how students were interested because it is related to their own culture, to their own country. They knew when Mam Jara was born, the names of her parents, and what he did in her lifetime.
Right.
And when I said them, Mam Jara Buso had only lived 33 years old. 33 years old. And how tremendous her work. How tremendous was her work. You see? So time has come to think about that. To revisit the lifetimes of our great figures.
Right.
Islamic great figures. Serigne Sam, and mostly at the time Serigne Sam, because young people nowadays are fond of Serigne Sam. In terms of education, in terms of social behavior, in terms of dressing code also.
Absolutely. Even someone like Sëñ Abdul Aziz,
yes,
how many recordings? I mean, he has done. Sëñ Abdul Aziz Dabakh, he said a lot about Islam, about culture, Senegalese culture. Still, his tapes and recording is a leftover for other. Even if you recall Black Power, a movie that is out in America right now, because he's breaking all the. It's a blockbuster right now. Why? Because African culture being recalled, and then the American black mainstream they hungry of their own culture to see themselves in the on the screen. What they see all the time is different from their own daily culturally lived life. So Black Power came over to deliver them from that psychosis that they living every day. So when we need
people must know when you say Islam, it's not only worshipping, it's not only praying, fasting, or going to Mecca. Islam is a spirit. It is a social organization. It's a culture. It's a civilization. Okay, we should know that. Apart from praying, and we can do many things related to our religion. Movies, for example.
Right.
We can have some movies on the life of Shamadou Bamba.
Absolutely. Sëñ Mustafa is getting ready for that. Sëñ Mustafa Gaynde Fatma.
Yes.
With Steven Seagal, by the way. Inshallah, he's promoting that movie.
Yes.
Inshallah, we talked about it before. And the time is almost up, though. We have 1 minute. What's going to be your words, your last words? And by the way, your perspective, though, what's on the future with the your organization, your writings, and
right now,
working for Serigne Sam? What's in the future?
I myself and all the members of our Dahira Generation Soppe Serigne Sam, Serigne Abdoulaye Cissé Sam, Mamadou Gaye Sam, Djibril Sam, for example, they're writing books on the life of Serigne Sam, the life and work of Serigne Sam. And the Dahira itself has some projects, many projects. But first of all, we have been spreading the work of Serigne Sam through the internet, through Facebook, through WhatsApp. We began it since 2015, and we are in 2018. We have now five groups in the name of the Dahira Generation Soppe Serigne Sam.
MashaAllah.
5 groups, and it is going up. So what we must do is to gather all the disciples, all the unconditionals of Serigne Sam, and to work together. And the coming years, inshallah, you may see what we have done really. We do not want to speak here and
there's some projects out there, right? Coming.
Yes, inshallah. So I'm very grateful to you, who has given me the opportunity to explain myself, and I'm very grateful to my family at Koki, Luga, Jamñajo, and all the areas there are viewers of Lamfal TV Eco from Touba, and also I mentioned the Dahira Generation Soppe Serigne Sam, and I call all the youngsters to join in. Yes.
Tell them to like Eco from Touba page though. Don't forget.
Eco, it is like echo.
Echoing, right? Echo from Touba.
Yes, it's like echo.
All right, beautifully done. So we thanking you again every anniversary of Serigne Sam. We really feel the need to come out and then show that unique personality though, who help us spread Islam, help us spread the work of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba in Senegal and around the world. Serigne Sam is a unique, absolutely unique personality because Sheikh Al Khadim need to be known. We talk about youngsters today though, what the Sheikh, this icon, Serigne Touba has done for you guys, for youngsters. You have
first books.
Right.
Please,
right.
The first books written by Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, Tazadul Shiqar, Tazadul Shuban, was dedicated for young people.
For youngsters, yes. Right. Absolutely.
And Serigne Sam, what he did first was to translate those books into French for young people. Yes.
So never wait for government to help you out, guys, though, to go and learn about Sheikh Al Khadim. Kind of renovate a little bit the dairas, call knowledgeable people to come and talk to you about Serigne Touba. Go do some researches on Serigne Touba, spread the message, spread the word, but especially learn the work, the memorabilia of Serigne Touba. He's done a lot, and the world needs it, because the world needs peace. The world needs Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, because there's nobody like Serigne Touba. He's a unique personality. Serigne Sam help spread the message. Serigne Murtala help spread the message. Al Mujahidul Akbar. Serigne Mamor, he's doing the same thing right now, and especially our...
Recently,
right.
There was a visit. There was a visit between the grandsons of Sheikh Al Kabir and the grandsons of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba. There was the son of Serigne Sam, Mam Sheikh Mbaye ibn Serigne Sam, and his brothers. They went to Touba to pay a visit to Serigne Mamor Mbake Murtada. This is a kind of relationship that existed since their ancestors.
Right.
This is to be...
Alhamdulillah. Hopefully it's going to be more PhDs on Serigne Abdullah, more PhDs on Serigne Basiru, more PhDs on all the icons we have in Senegal. Thanks to, again, Serigne Muntaha. May Allah give him long life and a health of iron. He's been doing well and great for our community. Recently gave out 70 million in order to help health insurance for the Talibans in Touba. The people, I mean, the school children learning French, Quran in Touba. They won't pay for health insurance anymore, thanks to the Caliph. And also for the patients of kidney disorder, he gave out over 70 million to the hospitals of Touba to help them have the kidney treatment of Madlabul Fawzaini, to have the kidney treatment for free. And this is from Sheikh Muntaha. He's about to build this school though for the topics we talked about today in terms of helping our own learn who Serigne Bamba was, who Sheikh Al Khadim. The world is right now running to grab the message of Sheikh Al Khadim. So if they come over and we don't know nothing about Sheikh Al Khadim, it's going to be a disaster. Hope it's never going to happen. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Jërëjëfati Serigne Touba. Jaraw lakke Maam Cheikh Ibrahima Fall. Praying time.
Sawadul Daarayni fi barakati Cheikh Al Khadim.
Barke Serigne Touba. Jërëjëf.
ربما سكر لي بالكاف والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون.
Le programme suivant sera